So I don't want to deliberate over this much longer. I want to get into reading the relevant portions of the book as well as the Quran. But just a little reminder once again, before I look at the Quran verses and the portions of this book, what is it exactly that's taking place subconsciously? So if you think about how the subconscious works, and I'll just speak about that just a little bit. If you think about how this subconscious works, how is it that people are acquiescing to these prophecies? How is it that people are reluctantly accepting something without protest? How is it that the world is moving in the way that it is moving? I find it interesting that apparently this percentage of the world, 28, almost 29%, let's say 30% of the world is Christian. Yeah, let's say 30%. And here it says that about just over 25%, let's say, they're pretty much the same. 28%, 25%, let's just say that they are right. If you look at these two percentages and you add them up, that's just over half the population of the world. That's not even including other religions, which I'm not even mentioning right now, which also have their own prophecies, their own beliefs. But if you think about just the Christians, with the Bible, not including the Jews, that's already more than half the percentage of the world. So that's easily a majority, you could say. And if I include all the other religions, which I'm not going to mention, that's a larger majority. So if this larger majority believes in complex and confusing narratives which seem to pan out, don't seem to pan out, seem to be interpreted in one way and then interpreted another way, all of these narratives about the end times prophecies, the way the world is going to end, how is it that people acquiesce to them? How is it that people reluctantly accept and move forward without protest? Keep in mind the subconscious. So what is it that people are exactly doing? What is predictive programming? I just mentioned that. But just one more time again, how it works. The goal, as it says here, is to make the ideas or events seem normal or inevitable in the public consciousness. Public consciousness. I'm speaking about where it's buried in our subconscious, but this is speaking about the consciousness. The goal is to make the ideas, these prophecies, the events, or even whatever it is that's coming in our news feeds today, it's feeding our subconscious. These feeds that we are connected to, the goal is to make the ideas or events seem normal or inevitable in the public consciousness. And I know people will say that, I now feed myself with all positive material, etc. I've changed as well, as much as I can, as much as anyone can, but you can't avoid the larger reality. It seems to be the case that the majority are making up our reality for us. So the goal is to make the ideas or events seem normal or inevitable in the public consciousness. So when they actually occur, people are less likely to resist them and more likely to accept them. I think that's what many of us find frustrating when we're speaking to our loved ones about what is going on, what is that we need to do. And it is this acquiescence, it's this, there's the mocking, there's the ridicule, there's the laughing, because they can't deal with the conflict in their reality, what they've been brainwashed with, their cognitive dissonance, the demons arising. So they laugh, they mock, and ultimately they accept, they acquiesce. So if the majority are doing this for us, it explains that there is a conspiracy taking place, and the Quran confirms this. This is a conspiracy, whether people like that word or not, whether people are trained to laugh when they hear that word or not, as many of my family members are. You say that, that's another conspiracy, and they laugh. So what is a conspiracy? A secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. Interestingly, there's other synonyms to that word conspiracy. So people will be okay with the idea that people are plotting or scheming or strategizing. But this word machination is very interesting. machination. So if you look at that conspiracy, it's basically a machination. Yeah, they're all synonymous in the Quran. This word kaid, wa akidu kaida, people will be familiar with that, and they like to say that. Even when you're speaking to some of these quote-unquote Muslims, the traditionalists, the Sunnis for the most part, when you speak about anything, they don't want to know, and they just say, they like to regurgitate or repeat this Quran verse, which is good, but they use it as a means of shutting down any conversation about the reality. Wa akidu kaida. Yeah. So what does this word mean that Allah uses? So here we have to scheme, to plot, to plan. So if you look at this, wa akidu kaida, machination, there you go. And I just showed what is synonymous to conspiracy: machination, plot, plan, scheme, ploy, tricks. It's all there. It's something malicious, and Allah confirms that there is a group out there doing this, and they have many followers. They have many conscious followers as well as many unconscious followers. Allah confirms this repeatedly in the Quran. So there you have it. This whole root, 35 times mentioned in the Quran, is 100% conspiracy. So those who laugh at conspiracy are laughing at the Quran, because it's here 35 times in the Quran. What is it? If you look at this, kaidum, their plot. What is a plot? A plan made in secret. This is very interesting. I'm going to go through a key passage, just one passage with the use of this word. Very interesting. A plan made in secret by a group of people to do something illegal or harmful. So now check this one out. This is from Surah Tariq. I remember we did this, us brothers on this. Brilliant, from Brother Imran. So what does it say here? An-Najmu Thaqib was-Sama'i wat-Tariq. Those who are familiar with this surah, short surah, very short surah, a very short surah. Is this not ultimately just these 17 verses, this short surah, beautiful at the end, is this not ultimately all about the conspiracy? What does Allah say? So on the day of return, Raj'ihi, on the day of return, Yawma Tubla, the day that the secrets are tried. Yawma Tubla Sarair. There we have it. The secrets are tried. So there is a group, as I just mentioned here, a plan made in secret by a group of people to do something illegal or harmful. The day the secrets are tried, the secrets are tried, then will he have neither power nor helper.
وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الرَّجْعِ وَالْأَرْضِ ذَاتِ الصَّدْعِ إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَصْلٌ وَمَا هُوَ بِالْهَزْلِ إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا.
They plot, they plan, they scheme, they conspire. But Allah is also doing the same. But Allah's conspiracy or Allah's scheme or Allah's secret plan is greater than theirs. And I plan a plan. So this dystopian literature, have another think. Is this not a key part of the secret conspiracy against mankind to move things in a certain way, in a certain direction? How does this literature differ from so-called religious literature? How does it differ, really and truly? For those who've been studying the Quran will accept easily that, yeah, we no longer believe that this is from Allah. We no longer believe that this is even from Allah's Nabi, which I'm going to go into. Nabi is not a prophet. Yeah. None of this can be attributed to the Nabi, the beloved Nabi. Peace upon him. So this dystopian literature, this black mirror that we have, several black mirrors around throughout the homes, throughout our lives, throughout our possessions, throughout what we're carrying, throughout what we're traveling on. these black mirrors that are everywhere, in one form or another, what are they feeding? What are they reinforcing again and again from morning to night? What are they reinforcing? So if you look at the way the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is designed, again, not going into detail about this. So this picture of this iceberg, which is our mind, I think is very appropriate the way it is, and especially this sea, this barrier. It does seem to be the one, for those who've seen the Berserk video that I did, it does make me remember going through that and studying that and the way Allah describes this barrier and where we travel to when we go to sleep and where we seem to return from. I'm not sure about that, but it does remind me of this. But just looking at this iceberg, this 95% of our subconscious, which controls our conscious being this 5%, and it's the logical thinking, the willpower, and the critical thinking, and a short-term memory here. But just imagine if our beliefs are wrong, as it is listed here in the subconscious, the unconscious mind. 95% of it, right? 95%. So these false religious beliefs, these values that have been given to us, and even the fears that aren't even real that have been given to us through all kinds of means, through family, through indoctrination schools, these corporations, these jobs, the works, the life history, all of this that takes place, we develop these beliefs, these values, these fears. If you look at this, what it says, this programming. So that's what many of us have been on the journey of, deprogramming and attempting to reprogram whilst we still can. It's interesting that it says that it controls all the systems in the body. It controls. So if most people, as I just mentioned, what percentage are Muslims, what percentage are Christians, and they're following confusing, complex narratives they believe that are prophesied by God's prophets, and they're acquiescing to them. Where this world is heading already, for those of us that have been watching, we already can see it, but at least we can understand or remind ourselves and look at this. What is it that's taking place? Why the masses are acquiescing? Why we're heading in the direction that we are rapidly heading in? Exponentially now, as is mentioned with AI. Well, it has been exponentially, but now it's crazy. It's ridiculous. I first learned about the exponential rate in 2019, but now it's just crazy. It's ridiculous, the speed at which things are changing and moving ahead. So this iceberg, I find it interesting that in this picture it says movie, reality, perception, all in this subconscious mind. So if this is what everyone is running from and dictating what our conscious lives look like, maybe it makes sense why Earl Nightingale was right when he said that we become what we think about most of the time. We become what we think about most of the time. And what are we thinking about most of the time? I know people will say, yeah, so you should look at positive material. Yeah, but does that really change the reality of the world, where the world is heading? So this is a recording to give air to the truth. Yeah, I'd love to give hope. I'd love to give some opium, some hope. And I still will where I can, some reality from the Quran, that kind of hope, that kind of real opium, I guess you could say, from what the Quran says, not the modern liberal thinking or the hopium, yeah. So he said, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. It's amazing what he said, the amount of things that he said, amongst a group of others like him. And I'm not singing their endless praises. I don't know who these characters actually are, or what they associated themselves with, or who their God actually was. I'm just speaking about what they said, because the truth is everywhere. It's scattered everywhere. The wisdom is scattered everywhere. The Quran is the ultimate wise book that helps you filter through the deception in this world. That's what the Quran is. So yeah, this is my opinion how everyone is acquiescing to these fake, false prophecies from Prophet Yoda, not from Nabi Muhammad alayhi salam in the Quran. No, that's a different character. This character that's created these prophecies is not the Nabi Muhammad alayhi salam within the Quran. So now we can move on to the Quran. And I will say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So I'm going to be reading the book and the Quran verses for those who need proof now, for those who need the real hard academic proof for everything that I've said up until now. Now, as I was resuming this recording, what came to my mind is, why do this anyway? Why seek refuge in Allah from Iblis, the devil, the outcast demon? Why seek refuge in Allah from a shaitan or regime? And what came to my mind is something that I never really got around to. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of the verses regarding the Qareen, just to highlight to people something that might be missed, which I imagine would be with many, including myself. So this is just one of the mentions of the Qareen, which is a companion, the way Allah speaks of the Qareen in the Quran. So if you look at that, it's mentioned a number of times, a handful of times in the Quran. So I'm just going to go through some of the verses to give a bit of an indication of why this is important, especially in deceptive times or with deception abound. So Allah says, and those who spend their wealth to be seen. So this word, ri'ah, is all about, it's something hypocritical. It's all about outward appearances. And this is largely directed at the miserly, the stingy, yabkhaluna, Scrooge-like characters, if you will, something from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, for those who are familiar. So a very much rich, elite-like, Scrooge-like character. So this is who Allah is directing this at. Again, I'm not going to go through the deeper context and what is mentioned, but it's sufficient to say the way Allah describes this companion is for those who are miserly, stingy upon men, and conceal what Allah has bestowed upon them of His bounty, and conceal they hide. And we have prepared for the kafir, lil kafirin, the blasphemers, the liars, the coverers of truth. We have prepared for them, a humiliating punishment. And here comes one of the mentions of Qareen here, companion. And those who spend their wealth, so they do spend, but they spend their wealth to be seen. This word, again, I won't be going in detail in this for those who know, towards the end of the Quran, الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ, the salat of the hypocrites, because the hypocrites do salat as well, but it's all about laziness and out of show for appearances purposes. So that's what this is, ri'ah an-nas. So this is why they spend, to be seen of mankind. So what Allah says is, these people, and to whom the shaitan, to these people, a Satan, a demon, becomes a companion, then evil is he as a companion. So this is one of the descriptions given of what happens to these kind of people, this Scrooge-like character, if you will, that by being like that, believe not in Allah and the last day, yet they don't believe in the hereafter, and they're miserly, they're stingy, and if they do spend, it's to be seen of mankind. It's all hypocritical, it's all for show. And that's what you get from reading this verse and the context. What Allah says is that for them, Satan, a demon, essentially, it becomes a companion. Then evil is he as a companion. So here it is twice, Qareen, Qareenan, companion. That's one mention I just want to mention. So for those who are familiar with A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, this is Ebenezer Scrooge. That's who Allah seems to be describing, this type of character. Very rich, lives on his own, got everything he needs, whilst watching everyone else suffer, essentially, and just is very low in, just full of lots of negative energy, and it just seems very satanic. So the next mention here with the Qareen, inni kana li Qareen, and they will draw near to one another, asking one of another. So this is the successful, I think, in paradise. So I'm not going to go back, but I believe if I'm correct, this is those who are now successful, and in paradise they will draw near to one another, asking one another. A speaker among them will say, I had a companion. So this is perhaps a memory that in this current life that we're in, a dunya, the temporal life, in the hereafter, they will say that I had a companion. So we all seem to have it. This is what it seems to be. Inni kana li Qareen. The consort, if you like, yeah? A companion, as it says here. A companion. And this is what the companion said. This is what's interesting. This is what the companion said. Art thou of those who give credence, or what is this, musaddiqeen? Yeah, are you really of the sincere ones? Are you really, it's making you doubt. This is essentially what this Qareen is doing. So this is what they say in the hereafter, that I had a companion. He basically used to make me doubt. He basically used to make me doubt. I'll just give it to you very quickly. This is what he would say. I'm not sure exactly what's here. يقول أئنك لمن المصدقين. Are you seriously of those sincere believers? Are you really of them? That when we are dead and dust and bones, yeah. أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما أئنا لمدينون. So this is, for those who remember, Maliki Yawmiddin at the very beginning of the Quran. Allah is the owner of the day of when debts are going to be settled. So that's what deen is here. Debt, as you can see. So are you really of those that when we are dead, when we died and we are dust, earth dust and bones, وَإِظَامًا, and bones, this is what they say. Are you really, is this what you really believe? This is the doubt, basically. This is another description of what the Qareen does. I'm just saying this because why we should seek refuge in Allah from the devil. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Because this is what they do. They make you doubt, yeah? And there's a voice that's in our heads that is identical to our own voice. So that's why we always have to be on guard. That's why we need a salat, morning, during the day, night. It's a life very contrary to what most people are telling us our life should be like. And especially now with all of these smartphones and everything, all of the media bombarding us on how we should be and what we should think and how we should look and the works. It's very different when you're stuck on the Quran. When you read the Quran, you realize that we're living a very delusional life, a life that is complete contrast or contradictory to what it is that everyone else is chasing after, believing and thinking we're supposed to be doing. So this is what the companion does. This is what the demonic companion, you can say, in our minds. This is what they'll do. They'll give this doubt. See, look, this is the people that are successful, by the way. These are the successful ones in paradise. They're saying this. So imagine that. So it's not that if you've got this voice making you doubt that you're not going to be successful, by the way. I just thought of that right now. So when we are dead and dust and bones, will we be held to account? Yeah, the debts. Will the debts really be accounted for? Inna lama deenun. This is your deen. This is your accountability. Deen. That's your deen. He will say, will you look? Then he will look and see him in the midst of hell. If I'm correct in my thinking, so that's what is basically being illuminated to us, that this companion that makes us doubt, that companion will be in hell, whilst the ones who are enjoying paradise, will say, do you remember this? Look where he is now. Look at this companion. So bear with me. Another verse. and we assigned to them companions. So this is for the tyrannical, the oppressive. The oppressive are assigned Qareens. The oppressive are assigned Qareens. And we assigned to them companions, and they made fair to them what was before them. So this is, again, if you look at the context, we've got Ad, Thamud, the ones that were wiped out, the oppressive, the tyrannical. So you get an idea. And what is Allah saying? And we assigned to them companions, and they made fair to them what was before them and what was following them, and upon them the world concerning the communities of the jinn and the ins, the communities of the demons, the jinn, the demons, well, the jinn, the jinn and the ins. So the tyrannical, the oppressive, if you think of the context, Ad, Thamud, you'll find here, there's another mention of the word Qareen. So if you think of Ad, as you got here, Ad, Thamud, this is within that context, the what will be said, and we assigned to them companions. They made fair to them what was before them and what was following them, and upon them the world concerning the communities of the jinn and the ants which had passed away before them became binding. They were the losers. Essentially, it's describing that these ones that were tyrannical and oppressive, they clearly were following their Qareens. That's what is basically being said here, that we assign to them companions. I've just described how the companions speak. They give you doubts. They mislead you, these companions that are assigned to people for whatever reason. But this is another indication that we get here. The Ad and the Thamud, the civilizations of the past that were wiped out, the tyrannical, the oppressive, the pharaonic. There's so many mentioned in the Quran, but this is just one of them. That these who followed their companions, what did they do? They decorate. It's all outward appearances. It's all, as it says, that they decorate to them what was before them. They make something look beautiful, attractive. That's what they do. I think that should be sufficient with this mention here. Then we've got Qareen mentioned within this passage here twice. We've got it here, Qareen and Al-Qareen. So the Scrooge that I mentioned, the character from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, if we keep that in mind, the miserly, the stingy, the type that Allah is describing. So for them, what they have here is, and he who is blind to the remembrance of Ar-Rahman, if I'm not mistaken, yes, Ar-Rahman, and he who is blind. So these people, these tyrannical, these oppressive, these stingy, these Scrooge-like characters, the elite, everything's all about the outward appearances and all about domination, essentially, in this world. Everything's about this world. There's no real belief about the hereafter. It's all about here and now. It's these characters that they would say, that Allah would say, and he who is blind to the remembrance of Ar-Rahman, we assign to him a demon. That's what we have here. We assign to him a shaitan, a Satan, فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ, and he is to him a companion. So this is one more indication. When you start to group these verses together, you get a better idea of how Qareen is spoken of in the Quran. So as I mentioned in this passage, the word is mentioned twice here. As you can see, Qareen here and Al-Qareen, but it's still speaking about the same Qareen. So this Scrooge-like character, or these Scrooge-like characters, these elites, the miserly, the stingy, the rich, that don't really believe, that everything is all about outward appearances, that Allah just mentioned, that to them is a demon, essentially made for them a companion. So the second mention here is, so what happens after that? When we assign to him a demon, and he is to him a companion, and they turn them away from the path while they think they are guided. So this is one more indication, or one more valuable piece of information, what these companions are that Allah speaks of in the Quran. These Qareens, what do? And they turn them away from the path while they think that they are guided.
The father of the space age. Okay, now this guy who was at Cal Poly Tech, right? This guy, Jack Parsons, was openly a devil worshiper. He developed the fuel that enabled us to penetrate the stratosphere. Satellites could not have come about without this guy. In his diary that he himself wrote, he had a dream. This is 1948. He had a dream where he saw somebody that he calls Belial Dajjal. And he tells him, you are helping me. Wow. Okay, I'm not making this up. You think I'm making this up? Wallahi, I'm not making this up. You go look it up yourself. Okay, so where's all this stuff coming from? Seriously, where's it all coming from? We're in the age of the Dajjal, you know. It's just Allahu Alam, when and where and what. But this is it, people. As far as I'm concerned, it's end game. So we need to prepare as much as we can, you know. But the technology, if you study where all this technology comes from, okay, read about the magic and the Enlightenment period. All these scientists were magicians. They were all into black magic. You read about Francis Bacon. I just read a biography of Francis Bacon called Knowledge is Power, Magic and the Creation of Modern Science. Francis Bacon was reading all these magical books. 2001: A Space Odyssey. What's his name? No, the guy that wrote it. Arthur C. Clarke. Arthur C. Clarke, great technologist. He actually has most of the patents that enabled the satellites, right? If you look at his interview with BBC in 1961, where he predicts the internet, he predicts the cell phones, he predicts texting. He said that by the year 2000, people are going to have handheld devices that enable them to talk to anybody anywhere, right? Arthur C. Clarke said, and he has 3 laws of technology. One of his laws is, no technology reaches a level of complexity except it becomes indistinguishable from magic. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a Luddite, right? I'm using a microphone right now. I'm not a Luddite. But this whole worshipful attitude towards technology, to me, is really stupid.
Just keep that in mind. And then the other mention of Qareen. When he has come to us, he will say, would that between me and thee had been the distance of the 2 easts. Yep, I remember looking at this. Al-Mashriqain, so the 2 easts. What this is essentially saying that I wish that there had been a massive distance between us two. You know, when the time comes, when he has come to us, to Allah, when it comes to the judgment, he will say, would that between me and thee, this companion, so these people who think that they are doing good, but actually they have a demon attached to them, and they're following this demon on a regular basis, even though they might even give charity, they might even have this, as we saw, you know, elsewhere in the Quran, they have a salat, an outward appearance. It's all hypocrisy, it's all outward appearance, not truly believing in the hereafter and the last day, resurrection. They are susceptible to these doubts and become insecure with their belief. With these people, when he has come to us, he will say that at that point, when it comes, when there's the separation and the judgment, and then they see what it is, who it is that they were following at that point. When he has come to us, he will say, would that between me and thee had been the distance of the two easts. حتى إذا جاءنا قال يا ليت بيني وبينك بعد المشرقين فبئس القرين. And it benefits them not that day. So that's when it is too late. When you have done wrong, that you are sharers in the punishment. By that point, it's too long. So again, one more time, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because why it's important to seek refuge. It's important to seek refuge on a regular basis. I'm giving some indications to that. So you can't help the deaf, the dumb, and the blind to think. You can't help them, but you can try to save yourself. That's what this is all about. It's all about saving the individual. It becomes a very sad situation when we think about others, but when we think about ourselves, I think it's something that could strengthen an individual. So this is the reality for those who are thinking that they're doing good. It all seems to be about outward appearances. They're not really secure. They're stingy, they're miserly, except for when it comes to putting it on show, spending money for other people to see. And even their salat, الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ, the wailul lil musallin, woe to the musallin, those who do the salat of the hypocrites, essentially. So may Allah make us amongst those who are sincere, honest, and on the right path till the very end. Because at the very end, this is what the companion, this is what the Qareen will prepare for us. The Qareen will be there to show us, this is what I have prepared for you. And every soul will come with it, a driver and a witness. Thou was in heedlessness of this, and we have removed from thee thy veil. And sharp is thy sight this day, sharp is thy sight this day. It will become clear. We're in somewhat of some kind of blinded vision at the moment, but at that point it will become crystal clear, the vision. Everything that is hidden from us right now will become manifest. And that's when the Qareen will say, and his companion, وَقَالَ قَرِينُهُ هَذَا مَا لَدَيَّ عَتِيدٌ, and his Qareen will say, this is what is with me prepared. Cast you twain into Jahannam. Every obstinate rejecter, hinderer of good, transgressor, doubter, Murib, suspicious one, yeah? One who is a doubter, thinks that the reality of the hereafter is fishy, suspicious, doubtful. Who set up with Allah another ilah, another God. Who set up with Allah another ilah. Cast him, you twain, into the severe punishment. So again, hopefully this gives a good understanding of why one should seek refuge in Allah on a regular basis. One should keep a good connection with Allah on a regular basis. So having covered that, another reason why I wanted to mention about the Qareen is because it's been prominent in my mind, or in my vision recently, in my thinking, all of this about Carl Jung and his teachings. So Carl Jung says that your shadow is not an enemy but a teacher of wisdom. And I couldn't help but think that these two are somewhat intertwined when this whole body of work regarding the shadow, it seems to be alluding to this Qareen. It seems to be alluding to Iblis or Shaitan, essentially, and his minions, in my opinion. You guys can be the judge. But I'll just present some of this before I continue with the reading of the Quran. So this is what Carl Jung says. Now, it's interesting that all of these people that illuminate much teachings and much wisdom today seem to have nothing to say about the Quran. It's always very fascinating and very interesting to me. But anyway, that's a side point. So he says your shadow is not but an enemy, but a teacher of wisdom. So this is the shadow that is depicted a lot of times when you see those who call themselves Jungians or followers of Carl Jung. And I guess you could say I was somewhat of a follower of Carl Jung, as in a follower of these wise teachings that are clearly out there, they're spread everywhere. And for many people who are interested in philosophy and religion and things of that nature, it's something that you're definitely going to come across. But I started to think more deeply, especially after teaching some poetry in English literature and realizing actually what was being said. I'll do that maybe on another occasion, but right now, regarding this Qareen, which I think is this shadow that is being spoken of, this depiction, I can't help but feel that this is Iblis in the garden tricking or inviting Adam alayhi salam to the tree that was forbidden by Allah, that Allah forbade this tree. I can't help but feel that this is attached to this. So this is all about the shadow, them saying that you must integrate this shadow. So this is one of the depictions that is used in their body of work, and I can't help but feel that this is about going where we're not supposed to go. This is essentially my opinion, that we're going, when people are saying that this should be integrated, this shadow, I think we're going where no one is supposed to go. This false illumination, essentially, this light that Iblis always is offering some form of light that is actually darkness. And this is one of the images that I see quite regularly attached to their body of work as well. And I'm wondering, is this not Lucifer himself, the bringer of false light? Is this not Lucifer himself, the supposed fallen one? The one, well, according to the Quran, Iblis did fall. So there is that. And that is what they say, that your shadow, or him, essentially, Iblis, that's what, again, in my opinion, they're saying, that your shadow, listening to him, is the key to success in your life. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overdoing this. Maybe there is some wisdom here. Again, I'm just pointing out what I see seems to be very dangerous out there. So they say that Carl Jung and the shadow, integrating the hidden power of your dark side, And this looks very much like Jekyll and Hyde, another book that I've had to teach in English literature. Jekyll and Hyde, for those who don't know. So it's all dark material that is taught in these schools. It's all very dark, satanic, but they never really allude to the reality of the satanic realm, or this unseen realm that does exist, but science will protest and say it's all mythology and it's all made up. It's all in your mind. It's all an imbalance of some chemicals in your mind, and all to do with your serotonin or your whatever levels, your something wrong with your neurons, basically. So this is the shadow. I can't help but feel that this shadow is the Jekyll and Hyde character, the two sides. Possession, basically. When they say integrating your dark side, I think that they're basically saying let yourself be possessed by this shadow, which the Quran confirms does exist. And so be one of these people of two faces. It's everywhere in various forms. Let this character, as we have Eddie Brock, let this venomous character, it's called Venom for a reason. It's toxic. It's all negative. It's all negative. It's all wanting to eat you up, eat up your energy in various forms, use you. So that's who these people, including Jordan Peterson, probably one of the most famous teachers out there of psychology that also teaches Carl Jung's work, or builds upon Carl Jung's work. So this is what they say: to integrate that dark shadow, that rage, hate, aggression and fear can be powerful, healthy tools. Again, I'm not denying that some elements are true. Some elements are true. The fear, for example, can be healthy in the Quran. Having a healthy fear for your consequences in disobeying Allah, for having a healthy fear of not sacrificing oneself and being selfish. There's many things that is true, but as a whole, this body of work, I'm very suspicious of it. Your shadow is not an enemy, but a teacher of wisdom. So this illumination, this Lucifer, bringing the false light, false information, false light that comes across as good light, as good wisdom to strengthen an individual. And in times where people are most definitely bombarded by all kinds of information, I think that holding on to true faith, which is the Quran, is going to be of paramount importance. Holding on to the Quran, which is the absolute truth, as opposed to anything else that comes across as part of the deen, which people will then lose their faith upon and therefore throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that's why I think that we should seek refuge in Allah from a shaitan regime. So this dark shadow that has been made famous by Carl Jung, and the integration of this shadow, perhaps it might be good to maybe not call it integration of the dark side, but maybe become aware of it, recognize it, learn about it, and maybe keep a distance between oneself and the dark shadow. So in keeping in alignment with the secure believers that do remember Ar-Rahman, as opposed to those who are blinded to the remembrance of Ar-Rahman and are therefore assigned a satanic companion, a Qareen, that does all of their thinking and actions despite them thinking it is their own thinking and actions. So in keeping in alignment with trying to remember Ar-Rahman and the fact that we are going to die and that we are going to become dust and bones and that we are going to be resurrected and held to account. For those purposes, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Let us not forget, within the very first words of the Quran, the first chapter, let us not forget whom all praise belongs to alone. Let us not forget whom designed this existence, this creation, and the purposes for what this creation and this existence is for. Let us not forget whom we are returning to on that day of judgment, on the day where debts will be settled. Let us not forget whom alone we serve and whom alone we seek help from. Let us not forget that ultimately that this entire Quran is for the guidance of the straight path, for those whom are grateful and dedicated to Allah alone. Let us not forget the path of those whom we are trying to emulate, those who came before us, whom Allah was pleased with, not of those who turned away, like the people of Musa alayhi salam, those who turned away and worshipped the golden calf, those whom turned away and decided to take parts and reject others, those whom decided to add falsehood, those whom decided to follow things that they wished and rejected the guidance of Allah. In the name of Allah, the Almighty, the Merciful. Alif Lam Mim. This is the book about which there is nothing suspicious about it, a guidance for those with taqwa, those who are guarded, vigilant, conservative about things, those who are cautious, vigilant, those who believe in the unseen, because that's what it is. We can't prove everything right now. We can't show everything right now. But those who believe in the unseen and uphold the connection to Allah, the salat, and of what we have provided them, they spend. They spend from what we have provided. So those who are not Scrooge-like, as I mentioned earlier, those who spend, those who use what they have been given in the service to Allah, for Allah, those who believe in the unseen and uphold the connection to Allah, and from what we have given them, they spend. And those who believe in what was sent down to thee and what was sent down before thee, we believe in the history that we see in the Quran. We believe in what we have now, what we've been given now, this book in our hands. And of the hereafter, they are certain. Yuqinun, certainty. Of the hereafter, they are certain. They don't say phrases like, oh, really? When we are dust and bones, this is what's going to happen to us, right? Oh, what about this? Or what about that? How is this going to happen? That doesn't sound real. We don't have that kind of attitude. There are those who do, but we don't have that kind of attitude, the believers of the Quran. Those are upon guidance from their Lord, and it is they who are the successful. These are the successful, by the way, for those who are suffering and struggling in life, in this world. It's good to see how Allah's defined the successful. So there you have it, right up until there. Success is defined right here. But those who ignore warning, it is the same to them whether thou hast warned them or thou hast not warned them. They do not believe. They are not secure. It doesn't matter whether we warn them or not. They ignore it. They do not believe. They say, like you see on the latest DOAC, Diary of a CEO, no matter how much knowledge and information that they have, that is true. That is true. And that's how difficult it is. People are coming to us, new prophets, even giving the looks with the beards and lots of prophetic information, warnings from the past, trying to wake up mankind, playing the roles of prophets.
You have made a series of predictions about a variety of different dates. So what is your prediction for 2027?
Dr. Roman Yampolsky is a globally recognized voice on AI safety and associate professor of computer science.
He educates people on the terrifying truth of AI
and what we need to do to save humanity.
In 2 years, the capability to replace most humans and most occupations will come very quickly. I mean, in 5 years, we're looking at a world where we have levels of unemployment we've never seen before. Not talking about 10%, but 99%. And that's without superintelligence, a system smarter than all humans in all domains. So it would be better than us at making new AI. But it's worse than that. We don't know how to make them safe. And yet we still have the smartest people in the world competing to win the race to superintelligence.
But at the end, what do they say? The goal is to live forever.
You're gonna die of old age.
Which is fine.
That's not good. You wanna die?
I mean...
You don't have to, it's just a disease. We can cure it. Nothing stops you from living forever. As long as universe exists, unless we escape the simulation.
But we wouldn't want a world where everybody could live forever, right? That would be...
Sure we do. Why? Who do you want to die?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I say this because it's all I've ever known, that people die, but wouldn't the world become pretty overcrowded if...
No, you stop reproducing if you live forever. You have kids because you want a replacement for you. If you live forever, you're like, I'll have kids in 1,000,000 years. That's cool. I'll go explore the universe first. Plus, if you look at actual population dynamics outside of like one continent, we're all shrinking. We're not growing.
Yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy that the more rich people get, the less kids they have, which aligns with what you're saying. And I do actually think if, I'm going to be completely honest here, I think if I knew that I was going to live to 1,000 years old, there's no way I'd be having kids at 30.
Right, exactly. Biological clocks are based on terminal points, whereas if your biological clock is infinite, you'll be like, one day.
And you think that's close? Being able to extend our lives?
It's one breakthrough away. I think somewhere in our genome, we have this rejuvenation loop, and it's set to basically give us at most 120. I think we can reset it to something bigger.
AI is probably going to accelerate that.
That's one very important application area. Yes, absolutely.
So maybe Brian Johnson's right when he says, don't die now. He keeps saying to me, he's like, don't die now.
Don't die ever.
Because he's saying like, don't die before we get to the technology.
Right. Longevity, escape velocity. You want to live long enough to live forever. If at some point every year of your existence add 2 years to your existence through medical breakthroughs, then you live forever. You just have to make it to that point of longevity, escape velocity.
And he thinks that longevity, escape velocity, especially in the world of AI, is decades away, minimum, which means...
As soon as we fully understand human genome, I think we'll make amazing breakthroughs very quickly. Because we know some people have genes for living way longer. They have generations of people who are centenarians. So if we can understand that and copy that, or copy it from some animals which will live forever, we'll get there.
Would you want to live forever?
Of course. Reverse the question. Let's say we lived forever and you ask me, do you want to die in 40 years? Why would I say yes?
I don't know, maybe...
You're just used to the default.
Yeah, I am used to the default.
And nobody wants to die. Like, no matter how old you are, nobody goes, yeah, I want to die this year. Everyone's like, oh, I want to keep living.
I wonder if life and everything would be less special if I lived for 10,000 years. I wonder if going to Hawaii for the first time, or, I don't know, a relationship, all of these things would be way less special to me if they were less scarce. And if I just,
it could be individually less special, but there is so much more you can do. Right now, you can only make plans to do something for a decade or two. You cannot have an ambitious plan of working on this project for 500 years. Imagine possibilities open to you with infinite time in an infinite universe.
Gosh.
The goal is to live forever. Don't die now. Don't die yet. It's all about this world. Yeah. Anyway, those who ignore warning, and they'll tell you they believe in a super intelligent being. Yeah, so many things will match what we believe, but it's what does not match that is important. It's what does not match. Those who ignore the warning, it is the same to them, whether thou hast warned them or thou hast not warned them. They do not believe. Allah has sealed their hearts, and over their hearing and over their sight is a covering, and they have a great punishment. And of men are some who say, we believe in Allah and the last day, but they are not believers. Yes, this is the world that we live in. This is the world that we live in. This is the reality. A lot of people won't like this. So there are those, but this confirms to the very end of the Quran, the salat of the hypocrites, the speech of the hypocrites. Yeah. And of men are some who say, we believe in Allah, we are secure in Allah and the last day, but they are not secure. Yukhadi'una. Oh, they do. Yes, so they deceive only themselves. They would deceive Allah and those who are truly secure, the believers, those who believed. But they deceive only themselves, and they perceive not. In their hearts is a disease, so Allah has increased their disease, and for them is a painful punishment, because they have lied. And when it is said to them, work not corruption in the earth, work not corruption in the earth, they say, we are but those who do right. Oh no, we are but those who... We are the reformers. We are trying to correct things. That's who these people are. They claim to be the reformers of things. When it said to them, work not fasad. This is Yajuj Majuj, essentially, the corruptors of the earth. those who corrupt the earth and what Allah has created on every single level. And it is them, and it is the spokespersons for these very same people that create the corruption in the earth, that then turn around and say, we are but the reformers. And when it is said to them, work not corruption in the earth, they say, we are but the reformers. In truth, it is they who are the workers of fasad, but they perceive not again. And when it is said to them, believe as mankind has believed, they say, shall we believe as the foolish have believed? Oh, I don't believe in any religion anymore. I don't believe in Islam. I believe in what is it that Gowdat said?
Are you religious?
I'm very religious, yeah.
But you don't support a particular religion?
I follow what I call the fruit salad.
What's the fruit salad?
You know, I came at a point in time and found that there were quite a few beautiful gold nuggets in every religion and a ton of crap, right? And so in my analogy to myself, that was like 30 years ago, I said, look, it's like someone giving you a basket of apples, 2 good ones and 4 bad ones. Keep the good ones, right? And so basically I take 2 apples, 2 oranges, 2 strawberries, 2 bananas, and I make a fruit salad. That's my view of religion.
You take from every religion the good parts?
From everyone, and there are so many beautiful gold nuggets.
And you believe in a God?
I 100% believe there is a divine being, yeah.
A divine being?
A designer, I call it. So if this was a video game, there is a game designer.
What, that we just live in headsets?
Do you know if you're not?
I don't know if I'm not, no.
Yeah. You have no idea if you're not. I mean, every experience you've ever had in life was an electrical signal in your brain. Okay? Now ask yourself, if we can create that in the virtual world, it wouldn't be a bad thing if I can create it in the physical world.
Maybe we already did, no?
My theory is 98% we have, but that's a hypothesis, that's not science.
What, you think that?
100, yeah.
You think we already created that and this is it?
I think this is it, yeah.
I believe in what was that thing he said? Fruit salad religion. I believe in the fruit salad religion. Yeah. I believe in truth is everywhere. Everyone's got a little bit of truth. I don't believe in anything really and truly. Everything's true and nothing's really true. It's just all about love. It's just all about love and peace. And when he said to them, believers, this is what they said, believers mankind has believed? Oh, what these, tales, these myths, believers mankind has believed? They say, shall we believe as the foolish have believed? In truth, it is they who are the foolish, but again, they know not. The Arabic is even more amazing. Even as you read this English, it's amazing, but the Arabic is even more amazing. And when they meet those who are secure, the believers, they say, we are secure. But when they are alone with their demons, when they are alone with their devils, their demons, they say, we are with you. We were only but mocking these secure believers. Yeah, we don't really believe. We just had to tell them that. Or we just had to do what we have to do, for appearances, outward appearances. Yura'una wa yamna'un ma'un. And when they meet those who are not secure, they say, we are secure. Yep. But when they are alone with their demons, they say, we are with you. That could be human demons or it could be jinn demons. We are with you. We are only mocking. Allah mocks them and increases them in wandering blindly in their inordinacy. Those are they who bought error at the price of guidance. It's this purchase that Allah keeps speaking of in the Quran. Do not purchase something for this world at the expense of the truth of the hereafter. Do not exchange Allah's words for falsehood. Those are they who bought error at the price of guidance, so their transaction profited not, and they were not guided. Their likeness is as the likeness of one who kindled the fire. This is an amazing parable. Their likeness is as the likeness of one who kindled the fire. When it had illuminated what was around him, Allah took away their lights and left them in darkness. They do not see, deaf, dumb, and blind, so they will not return. This is what happens when you exchange the truth that you are secure in, or were secure in, for falsehood that is being pushed today. May Allah keep us as secure believers to the end. They do not see. Their likeness is as the likeness of one who started a fire. And when it had illuminated what was around him, Allah took away their light and left them in darkness. They do not see. Deaf, dumb, and blind. Summun, bukmun, umyun, fahum la yarji'un. Or like a thundercloud from the sky, wherein is darkness and thunder and lightning. They put fingers in their ears against the thunderbolts in fear of death. But Allah encompasses the kafir. Allah encompasses the kafir. Allah encompasses the blasphemers, the coverers of truth. Allah encompasses the disbelievers. The lightning snatches away their sight whenever it gives them light. They walk therein. Whenever it gives them light, they walk therein. And when it darkens over them, they stand still. And had Allah willed, He would have taken away their hearing and their sight. Allah is over all things powerful. Now I will happily read from this section of the book. So again, for those who are not familiar, the book that has been written when the hour anchors on the level earth. So the level earth, all of this, after this is the first half of the book regarding the level earth. And then it moves into, accidentally by the way, so it wasn't intentionally planned, but it was only when I got to this chapter regarding the earth being prepared like the cradle, Al-Mahdi. I knew by that point, because in the introduction I place about who is the real deceiver according to the Quran, and it is Iblis as-Shaytan. So at this point, by the time I got to Al-Mahdi, a description for, Mahd, a description for the earth, I knew I had to speak about this eschatology that was drilled into many of us, this eschatology. That's when the second half of the book became when the hour anchors. And I disproved all of the 5 supposed proofs that I was taught previously by Shaykh Imran Hussain that Jesus is returning. So again, it's nothing personal, but it's just for the sake of the truth, for the sake of pleasing Allah, for the sake of knowing what is ahead of us. And again, that's something I won't be going into right now. But what I will be going into right now is this bit here, prophecy of the hour. But just a quick reminder of what was covered earlier, that it is these forbidden prophecies, these predictions of the future, that I'm making the case that are all fabricated, and they do not belong to anything in the Quran. They don't connect with anything in the Quran. They're all fabricated. They're all from Iblis and his soldiers. And this is how they are getting mankind to acquiesce to something, to reluctantly accept something without much protest, and we just carry on tiptoeing forward. Khutuwat shaitan, we keep moving forward in this way because it continues to be horrific, but we accept it because we think it was prophesied and predicted, and therefore we believe that is our test, whereas actually it's not from Allah. Because how would people perceive Allah if they believed that this was planned by Allah? How would people perceive Allah? And that's what it is. This is complex and confusing when it comes to these prophecies of all religions. I'm going to come to that, but this is the conspiracy, in my opinion. Iblis's secret plan by his soldiers, his deluded followers, who are promised the riches of this world and even possibly the hereafter. So this is the secret plan by a group to do something unlawful. Yes, it's haram. It's harmful. It's haram upon mankind, upon believers. And this is the test of ad-dunya, at least for us at this time. But if you think about how many religions believe in prophecies of the end times, this is just a quick list. Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Norse mythology, Mayan mythology, Hopi mythology. Again, I won't be going into any of these. It'll be very interesting to have a look at the similarities between all of them. And there are definitely very strong similarities between the eschatology of the Muslims as well as the eschatology of the Christians. Very strong, striking similarities. So I won't be going into those, but if you just think of the major or the main religions of the world that do believe in prophetic end times, prophecies of the end times, of dark times, that covers majority of the world. You put these percentages together, easily 60 to 75% of the world. So how else is it? If this is in the subconscious of the majority of the world, and most people run from the subconscious, that what they see or what they've read equals reality, equals what they believe, and it controls all the systems in the body. If this is in there, everything that they have learned from a young age, through school, through religion, through all kinds of false indoctrination, if this is what majority of the world believes, and majority of what people follow is in their subconscious, then does it not become a reality? As Earl Nightingale said, does it not become a reality? Through repetition and emotion. It's all in the subconscious, and it's fed on a regular basis. It's grown into manifestation on a regular basis. So this is where you can be the judge. I will provide the proof, the pudding, and you can be the judge. You can see whether there is any true value to what I'm saying, whether there is any quality to what it is I'm saying. You can be the judge.